finished reading The Floating World by Axie, and I have thoughts about it. Let's get into them. If you have not seen me on your feed before, I am a ghostwriter, writing coach and editor, and I use these skills not just to review a book after reading it, but also to let you know about some tips that I can take from this book to help you improve your writing. So I have 3 key takeaways to get into, but first, what I thought about the book. I've had a seriously challenging relationship with fairy editions, which this is, by the way, of books that have Asian or Asian American or Asian whatever authors and that are inspired by Asian myth. There's been a lot of them in Fairy Loots and I have not enjoyed any of them. The only Asian inspired books that I've enjoyed have been The Hurricane Wars, and maybe just that actually. I think it might just be The Hurricane Wars. I have finally found another book in this canon that I did not hate. So I'm very happy about that. I did not hate The Floating World. It wasn't my favourite book of the year. It won't even make my top 10, but I didn't hate it. So I'm relieved. I'm absolutely relieved that we've broken that cycle. In terms of how much I enjoyed it, I did opt not to buy the special edition of the sequel. I didn't feel like I enjoyed it enough to spend £25 on the next book. I will probably get it when it's out in paperback, maybe, especially if it's at the Works or something like that. But it's not something that I feel like I need to rush out and get right away. So that's how much I enjoyed it. I'll probably read the next one, but for much less money than that. Anyway, let's get on to my 3 key takeaways. Number 1 is this. If you're writing a duology or a series, you have to make the ending so compelling that we must go and pick up the next book. In this book, I felt like the ending was easily resolved. In my head, I just went, yeah, and then she cures him, and then she's the queen, and he's the king, or whatever, and they get to be happy. The end. And because I can do that, even if that's not what happens in the next book, I don't really feel like I need to read the next book. I actually will be satisfied if I never read it, because I've already done the ending in my head. Or even, you could take it as an ending, just they had a tragic ending. Like, you could just leave it there and it would work. So you need to make the ending really compelling. And I don't know what I would suggest in this case. What I would have done to fix that or to make it more compelling for me, I think one factor would definitely be the fact that the quest in this book is resolved. So the quest that she goes on is actually to find a cure for her uncle, who is poisoned. And at the end, he's cured. And there would have been so much more unresolved tension if we were unable to cure him and they still needed to do something. Maybe she needed the main male character's help to do that, but he's transformed into a demon, so he can't help her. And then it's this whole raised stakes for the next book. Like, she's going to have to figure out a way to help him so that her uncle doesn't die. That would be a more compelling ending. This book did have more of a cozy feel to it, even though it was fantasy and it had quite high stakes, people's lives at stake and so forth. It did feel a bit more cozy the whole way through, so maybe that's a deliberate decision on the part of the author to make it have a more cozy ending, where you can just drop off there if you want to, but personally I think if you're trying to make book sales, don't make people feel comfortable at the end. Make them need to go and read the next one. My second key takeaway from The Floating World is you should let side characters build into something. And in particular in this book, I think I was really disappointed with the friends of the main male character and how they kind of went nowhere. So we have all of this build up about these friends, that he's sitting around the campfire in his memory and he's with these friends and he remembers that he, has been really close to them. We get probably like 2 or 3 memory scenes with them in, and then they're just dead. And I'm just like, oh, I thought something was going to happen with that, but it doesn't. So that's something you can do. If you want to make this more well-rounded and realistic universe, make it feel real, is to have those characters actually come and be well-rounded, realistic people instead of just... Almost feels like they were figures that were being moved around on a chessboard. Here they are, they're in play. Oh, they've been knocked out of play. They didn't feel real because we didn't see enough of them. And the emotional impact of having them die would have been so much bigger if I'd known more about them and had time to fall for them and feel for them. My third key takeaway, and this is just a PSA to fantasy writers, and indeed any kind of writers anywhere, you are allowed to look outside of myth outside of cultural myth for inspiration if you want. You're allowed to look elsewhere. All of these books right now that are coming out are drawn from cultural myths. It just over and over again, it's the same thing. And yes, of course, different cultures are going to have different stories, different myths to draw upon, and therefore we're going to get different books. But it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to always draw on myth. And if you are drawing on myth, it doesn't mean you have to set it in the past. You can set it in present day. You can even set it in the future. Just because you're drawing on a myth and the myth itself was set in the past, you can modernize it. You can do whatever you like with it. As I said, I did enjoy this one, but I've had enough of Asian mythology set during ancient times books, because there are so many of them. I've read, 4 or 5 at this point from Fairy Loot that I didn't enjoy at all. I've had enough. Let's do something else. Let's move on. Or at least stop sending them to me. Just stop sending them to me, personally. Okay. So, those are my key takeaways from The Floating World by Axie. And even though I had 3 criticisms, as I say, I did enjoy the book. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the side characters that they met when they sort of started getting into the underworld side of things, who actually did help them and stayed with them through the full book. And I hope that we get more of those guys in book 2, if I ever actually get around to reading it. But yeah, those are my thoughts on The Floating World. Let me know if you enjoyed this book in the comments. Did you find anything in it that I didn't find? Well, let's discuss.